This is the Nomadic Traveler Podcast. Welcome to Nomadic Traveler Podcast. I am your host, Jason, and our lovely and wonderful co-host is here, as always, Miss Nicole.
Hey guys, how's it going?
And we are going to talk to Kimberly Boyd and her boyfriend, Devin. So Kimberly is a 18-year-old van lifer, and we thought Kimberly was really cool. We got to talk to her, and she seems like she's taken on the life on the road game early.
Oh yeah, she started really early.
So we thought it'd be kind of cool to talk to her and see what things were like from her point of view, and where she got her van, and where she travels, and how she makes money, and a little bit of everything, right?
A little bit of a different perspective with her because she is so young. So
yeah,
cool. So
she is probably our youngest guest.
Yeah, that's
so
cool.
She gets the record for youngest guest.
Ding ding ding.
Okay, well, she doesn't need much of an intro because she's awesome. So up next we have Miss Kimberly. All right, we'd like to welcome Kimberly and Devin to the show. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you guys?
I'm doing really well. How about
Doing
you?
well.
You doing well?
Doing good. Yep.
So what are you guys out doing tonight?
Well, we just got done eating Taco Bell, and now we're hanging out in the van.
Sounds like the life.
Right?
That's right.
So tell us about like the average day for you guys. How is the average day for you?
Well, we kind of have two modes. So we have work mode and travel mode. So
Okay.
Your average work day, we wake up and we go to work, and then we come home and we eat dinner and we go to sleep. Kind of just like everyone else.
Yeah.
Travel days are the more fun days. Travel days, we'll, be out in nature, and we'll park at a trailhead and go do a big hike, and then we'll go sightsee in the evening, and then shower and go to bed.
Nice.
Sounds awesome.
So what are you guys doing for income right now?
So Devin actually started at this job. I'll let him explain it. He got us the job.
We're doing a political canvassing campaign. Just, the people in parking lots that ask you to sign something. That's us.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nice.
It's a good temporary. And
So is it for a particular candidate, or is it just trying to get people to get out and vote, or what?
So it's actually to help the healthcare here in Arizona.
Okay.
While we're stopped in Arizona, we thought we might be able to
Help contribute. So
Nice.
we're trying to get we're trying to get it on the ballot. So it's just collecting signatures so that they can vote on it.
Oh,
Oh,
cool.
that is awesome.
I like that.
Serves two
Yeah.
purposes. Yeah, so tell us a little bit like how you got into the van life, like what made you decide to do this, and how did you kind of begin your journey?
Yeah. Where did it all start?
Okay.
Well, it's kind of a funny story. We both always knew that we wanted to travel. Devin is 3 years older than me, so he had already been traveling. When I was 18, I moved out to Yellowstone National Park. That's where we met. And at the end of our contracts, we didn't really want to split up. We had met in Yellowstone. We were from Kansas and Oklahoma, so we were quite a ways away from home, but we decided, let's just move in together and see what happens. So we moved into my dad's Chevy Malibu and rode that back down to Kansas. And then when we were in Kansas, we didn't really talk about it. We just kind of ended up buying a van, and we moved all our stuff into the van, and now we live in a van.
Did you convert the Malibu at all? Was that like set up for camping, or did you just kind of use the stock?
No, we just used it as it was. We piled all our stuff in the back seats, and then we would roll our seats back at night to sleep.
Okay.
Nice. So how long did you do that for? How long were you living in the Malibu?
Not very long.
Not super long, probably about a month.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's probably a little tight at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we hadn't known each other for super long at that point, so we got to know each other pretty quick.
I bet, yeah. So, like, what was your job at Yellowstone? What did you guys do there?
We were front desk employees at the Lake Lodge, which is at the lake area.
Kimberly was my boss.
Oh,
Uh,
very cool, very cool. So was it like a seasonal position or, and then like how would other people find that job if they were interested in that?
How did you find the job, Devin?
so I just Googled jobs that provide housing. Yellowstone popped up actually as number one.
Oh, wow.
There's all kinds of ways. There's even a hashtag on Instagram
That's
called
true.
Yellowstone Jobs.
I found it through coolworks.com. Coolworks.com is really good for lots of seasonal jobs.
Okay.
Because it is seasonal. There's like a summer season and then a winter season. We were just there for the summer.
It's called
Very
Cool Works.
Yeah. Right, Devin? That's
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
COOL.
Yep. And then works.
Cool.
Very cool.
Works.
Right.
So like what made you interested? Like what made you think, okay, we want to get a van versus maybe like an RV or versus like just traveling and staying in hostels? What made you choose the actual van way?
Well, so we didn't really decide van or RV. We looked at a Toyota Chinook at one point. We looked at a big cheap RV. We just kind of ended up in what was right for us.
Yeah, just the best option for us when it came to gas consumption, livability, and to be honest, a bit of stealth mode
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to boondock and stealth camp when you're in a van as opposed to an RV. And we thought about backpacking and stuff, but we really want to save money because, we are young. We don't have much of it, and we want to travel internationally eventually. So
Nice.
it was the best way to travel and save money, and it just gives us a lot more flexibility.
What kind of van is it actually?
It is a 1989
Ford Econoline.
yeah,
It's a
Ford
Econoline,
Econoline
yeah.
E250. Yeah.
She's 31 years old this year.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. Where did you guys like find the van?
Well, we looked tirelessly in car dealerships and Facebook Marketplace, and then my mom found it in like a 2-month-old ad on Craigslist.
Wow.
And we bought it from a super cool dude that lived in my hometown.
Nice find, Mom.
Yeah,
It was good,
right?
yeah. Moms are good like that.
That's awesome.
And I assume it's a camper conversion, so it's already a camper, right? It wasn't just a
Yeah.
van,
Right.
right?
Yeah. So ours was already converted. It has a couch that folds out into a bed. It has a sink, a stove, a refrigerator, and a toilet.
Okay.
Perfect.
So you guys just sleep on the couch. The couch is like the bed.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it pulls out kind of the same way that like a futon would, except it flips.
It's like a jackknife sofa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
We
Yeah.
have more sleeping space too. We're using it for instruments right now, but overhead we have like a panel that pulls out, and that's what the guy who had it before us used as his sleeping space. It just
Gotcha.
pulls out and then comes over everything.
So have you guys done any modifications to it since you've had it?
No cool modifications. We've only done like normal vehicle repair type stuff.
Okay.
None of the fun stuff.
I guess well, we put a bike rack, very fancy.
That's true.
And then we do have a gravity shower that didn't come with the van.
Yeah.
We hooked that up, but
Not like a cool modification in the van though. We just kind of
yeah.
have it in the van.
So tell us about that. How does that work? What is a gravity shower?
So it's basically just a big bag.
Yep.
It's for camping.
Oh, so it's like one of those big black bags.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think I know what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, they heat up by solar, they heat up by the sun. And we have a 5-gallon one, and it has a little shower nozzle on the end, and it hangs up, and
Huh.
We like to pop the doors open and put a little curtain up, and we'll shower
That's
in
our
the back.
shower.
Oh, okay.
That is awesome.
So you shower outside then, basically, right?
Yep, exactly.
Okay, so you don't have to worry about drainage or gray tanks or any of that kind of stuff then.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Interesting. So how long does it take the bag to warm up? Does it warm up adequately in the wintertime or?
It is a little rough sometimes.
You also have to remember we are wintering in Phoenix, Arizona, so I
Yeah.
have no clue what it would be like in a cold climate.
Yeah.
For sure.
It still gets cold at night there, doesn't it?
Not really
No?
cold. It's
Okay.
like 30 to 40 degrees. We were originally in Flagstaff, and it would get like 18 degrees there.
Okay. So it stays above
Cold, but
freezing
not
then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long did you guys like research before you picked your van?
We honestly didn't do much research. I had looked into van life a lot when I was in high school because I knew I wanted to travel. I just didn't know how I was going to do it. So I already had like a grasp of what van life was, but we honestly didn't do a ton of looking into the vehicle specifications, mostly just because I come from Kansas, and if you get out on the West Coast or anywhere where van life is a bigger thing, you have a lot more options for a van, but in Kansas we really didn't have that many options, so we
Yeah.
kind of just took what looked good, and we lucked out. She is really nice.
Good.
And then you guys boondock most of the time?
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Does it have solar anywhere or?
No, we're thinking about getting that in the works, but it's a big undertaking. So
You just run off of battery that you charge during the day from like running the vehicle, and that's how you get your power?
No, actually, we have two batteries. We have the one up front that charges as we drive,
Okay.
and then we have one
I
back
think
here.
the back battery charges while we drive.
Oh, it
too.
definitely does.
We
Um,
Either way, we have two batteries. We don't use either of them when we boondock. We just use we'll go charge the laptop up when we go into restaurants, or we'll charge. We have a power bank that we charge up, but we don't use either of our in-house batteries.
Okay.
We need an inverter for them, and we just haven't really gotten around to getting one. So.
Okay.
Hmm.
But I'm
We
assuming
live
you
a
use
kind of
onboard
no-power.
lights though, right?
that's
Yeah,
true.
we do have
Yeah,
lights that run
gotcha.
on the battery.
Gotcha. Okay.
So what did your parents and your family think when you told them that this is what you were going to do? I know you said your mom helped you find the van. So were they all
Yeah.
kind of excited, or what did they think?
Yeah, they seem kind of supportive.
Well, so yeah, at first we were just looking for, I told my parents we're looking at getting a van, and so we went to the dealership and we were looking at a Trailblazer, and my mom and I had talked, and we were kind of like, yeah, we want something that we can sleep in, but that we don't have to sleep in. And we're looking at this Trailblazer, and I was imagining us laying in it, and I was like, Mom, I think I want to live in this thing full time. And I think it kind of caught them so off guard that they were just like, yeah, okay. And there was never really a period of, oh, that's weird. They were just like, oh, okay, let's look for one that you can live in full time.
Yeah.
And I told one of my friends about it, and she went home and told her mom, and she was like, yeah, my mom said that made sense. It sounded like something that you would do. So my family, my friends, they were super supportive. They were all on board. Probably surprised that I didn't do it a little earlier.
How long have you been in the van now?
6 months.
Maybe. I don't know. We got into the van in October-ish.
Okay.
Oh,
We
wow.
started living in it full time in October.
Okay.
Nice.
And so far, you still love it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes.
To be honest, it's the same good and it's the same amount of good and bad as any other
Yeah.
Absolutely.
way of life.
The frustration that I feel in the van, I would also feel anywhere else. But it got really dirty the other day, and I was like, if we can't keep it clean, we have to move into a house. But I didn't mean it. I just was like, oh my gosh, it's so dirty. But yeah, same thing would happen if we lived in an apartment or something.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it boils
It's all
over.
the same good and bads, but on those days where we go out and we're exploring these new cities, I know that I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah.
Sure. Right. What other like types of jobs have you guys just done the Yellowstone and then the campaigning, or is there any other types of jobs you guys have done on the road since you started?
We've done quite a few. The reason that we're in Arizona right now is because I actually worked for the Grand Canyon Railway. I was a seasonal performer there on the Polar Express. So that got us out to Arizona. And then I've done a lot of Craigslist jobs since then. Yesterday, I filmed a commercial for a sleep product. And before that, I worked at a home show. And we've done quite a few sales things. You sold kombucha at a
Yeah.
Sprouts.
Huh.
That's cool.
Xanterra is a company that runs a lot of the national parks. It ran Yellowstone. It ran
Grand Canyon South Rim.
It ran where Kim worked. And they have a lot of national parks jobs.
Yeah.
And those are pretty good ones.
Yeah,
if
we
you-
could just park hop if we wanted to.
Yeah, especially if you have like a camper.
Yeah.
Those are some primo jobs.
Yeah.
And it's
you
called
just have-
Zan, Zantera.
Yes, that's
That's the
exactly
one.
it. I'm surprised you got it right.
Yeah, that was impressive.
Yeah.
I'm a good listener.
I did not have that right. I did not have that spelled right. So, do most of those jobs, I'm assuming, then offer you a place to stay with your camper or your van?
Yeah, so
Okay.
they allow full hookups on site. So, like in Yellowstone, you live inside the park. At the
Nice.
South Rim, you live inside the national park. So, not only are you getting housing, you also get to live somewhere that no one else really lives. But you
Yeah.
can do that even if you don't have the van. As long as you're an employee, they have just general employee housing.
Yeah. Most national parks have some kind of employee housing.
Yeah,
It's a lot like college dorms.
it's
You know,
true.
nothing fancy. But
Yeah. And does it pay okay?
Pretty well. It depends kind of on who you're going with, where you're going, but we made $10.75 and $11.75 in Yellowstone, and then
Okay.
some of that, of course, goes back into your rent and your food bill. But it's pretty good money because you don't have to pay for anything, so you can save up a lot.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So you can save while you're there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very cool. That's awesome.
Servers make a lot of money. There was a guy in the Old Faithful area of Yellowstone that was a server, and rumor has it that he made like $10,000 in a summer
Wow.
That's not
and
bad.
saved it all up.
Yeah.
yeah.
He was like going on trips and stuff. He would like go stay in these fancy hotels, and then at the end of the summer, apparently he had like 10,000 saved up still.
Wow.
That's very cool.
Yeah. I want to do that.
Servers,
Yeah, right?
When I lived down in Florida, servers made very good money as well there too. So I think if you're in any kind of like touristy spot, I think you can do very well if you're good at serving.
Right.
That's true. That's very true.
So, what are some of like the unexpected things you guys have come across? I know that you just started in October, but what are some things that maybe our listeners might need to know before they jump in themselves?
Well, I did have that minor breakdown about how dirty it gets in here, and it's not. I mean, well, I think we're as messy as the average person. It's just, take everything that you own, cut it in half because you're going to live this new van life, minimalist life. But then you also have minimal space, and it just gets so much messier than you could possibly think that it would.
Yeah.
I don't know how it just, and there'll be dirt on the floor and stuff that, think about how much dirt you track into your house. You're going to track the same amount into the van.
Only it's
But you
smaller.
Oh,
Exactly.
Right.
That makes sense.
I mean, I
Yeah.
get you because we have the same problem with the camper too. The camper gets very dirty
Right.
very fast, and it seems odd how much faster it gets dirty than it does in a house. And the only thing I can come up with is because it's spread out over a larger area in a house, so you don't notice it as much. It's still there.
Mm-hmm.
So
And do you guys
And
have
I've
like
been
a lot of room for like
go ahead.
cleaning supplies and like all those things that you might need to tidy up?
Well, we don't have electricity most of the time. We use a lot of like the car wash vacuums and things of that nature. But we do have like glass cleaner. There's a cleaner that you can get for your upholstery.
nice. Have you done anything to the upholstery? Is it all still the original upholstery?
It's all still the original. We are going to replace it at some point, but
We got a nice rug.
Yeah, we have a rug.
Nice. Very
But
cool.
You guys will have to share some pictures with us, and we'll put them up on our Facebook page so everybody can
Yeah,
kind of
you
see what
got
your
it.
setup looks like.
you
For
got
Sounds
it.
good. Sounds good.
I'll have to clean it first.
Yeah, what does the storage, how does that work for you guys? Is it working out well with all of your things, or?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have a ton of storage. The biggest problem is instruments. You know, you can't put them in a cupboard. You can't really put them anywhere. They just float
Ah.
around. We have the loft, so it gave us a really nice place to put it. But if we didn't have that loft, I have no idea where our instruments would go. But, you know, dish-wise, art supplies-wise, clothes-wise, it's all pretty easy to manage.
What kind of instruments do you guys play?
Well, so right now we have an auto harp, a lyre, which is like a miniature 10-string harp, a banjo that is a family heirloom, and we have like a cigar box guitar that we're building,
Nice.
Wow.
and a harmonica, which takes up no space.
What is an auto harp? Is that what you said? Auto harp?
Yeah, it's an auto harp, so it's like a harp, but shrink it,
Okay.
sit it on your lap, and
Interesting.
at the bottom you have buttons that you can press,
Okay.
and they press down different strings. That way you can play chords, but you just have to pluck at the strings. It's a super easy instrument to play. It goes out of tune pretty easily, and then you have to charge or like retune like 30 strings. But I mean, it's
Wow.
a pretty sound. It's fun to play. It's not huge.
What's the difference between that harp and the other harp?
So that harp has like 32 strings, and
Wow.
you know, it kind of bounces around like a guitar would. So you'll have like one note, and then you'll go down 2 notes, down 2 notes, down 2 notes. The beauty of the 10-string harp is that it's a 10-note progression. So it's like C, D, E, F. So you have a lot of customization with what sounds you make. But
Nice.
yeah,
Very cool.
I don't play any instruments, so I live vicariously through you.
yeah, yeah. I don't play them well. I just have them and I
She does.
pluck at them.
Yeah.
She's really good.
Thanks.
She's really good.
Well, you got to start early, and then you will be good later, right?
Yeah.
That's right. That's what I'm thinking.
So do you guys, speaking of that, do you guys like meet up with a lot of other people who are van camping and play music, or
For sure,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, my favorite memory of that, while Devin was working at the Sprouts selling kombucha, I was in the parking lot one day, and there was a guy outside busking with a banjo. And, you know, banjos are like something from our area, Kansas, Oklahoma,
Yes.
Texas. You don't see a lot of banjos out here. So, you know, I started talking to him, and it turns out he's also from Oklahoma. And he invited us to his campsite that night. So, you know, we sat around the campfire and talked about our vans and played the banjo, and that was super cool.
Very nice.
that's awesome.
Yeah, we ended up spending Christmas with him and his other like van life friends. in Sonoma.
Cool.
Oh, that's also like a van life Christmas. I love
A
that.
van life
Yeah.
Christmas. That sounds like a Charlie Brown special or something.
Doesn't it?
It should be. Let's write them.
That's right.
Yeah, so like what type of like do you guys meet people on groups ever, or is it just like while you're out and about that you kind of meet these people?
Yeah, right now we've only met people face to face. We haven't really, you know, gone out of our way to meet people just because we happen upon so many cool people.
Yeah.
Kim gives a lot of advice online to a lot of people who are thinking about starting the van life.
That's true. There are a lot of Facebook groups.
I was going to say there's a ton of Facebook groups, actually.
Yeah, I'm in a lot of them. We haven't met any of them face to face, but it is a really good resource for, you know, if you want to know something about your van, or even if you're just like down in the dumps about, you know, how small the van is or how much
Yeah.
dirt your boyfriend tracked in today. So you can go on there and you have a really big support system. So even if you're not seeing people face to face, you've still
Oh,
got
yeah.
that network.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Where do you guys want to go next on your journey? Where are you guys gonna be?
So the immediate next, a month ago it was California, and now it's looking like Utah, and then California.
Ooh.
And then we want to do the West Coast, and then we want to do the East Coast, and then eventually we want to go abroad.
You gonna do it in Canada?
We're not sure.
So we're gonna dip into Canada. It's cold.
Yeah, I'm very.
Well, you'd have to wait till
immersed.
summer, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. We have. I have a friend up there.
Yeah.
He's right across the Great Lakes.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go visit him. We would really like to do some Canadian traveling. We'll just have to test the waters.
We'll make it up there. We'll definitely travel Canada. I'm just not sure it'll be like we are now. I'm not sure that it'll be boondocking in the van, but maybe it'll be going to actual campsites so that we have electricity, or maybe
Yeah.
like staying with people or staying at hostels while we're there.
That makes sense.
Have you guys ever thought about Mexico?
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mexico is on the list. We
Have
don't
you
know
got-
exactly when.
Have you researched it much yet or no?
Not a ton. I'm
Yeah.
part of like a backpacking, once again, Facebook group of people who are backpacking through Mexico, which is also in Spanish, which is helping with like language immersion and stuff. But really, we haven't like looked into it like what it would be for us. We've just looked into other people's stories.
Yeah. Well, because you hear so many people say negative things about Mexico,
Yeah.
but then I hear people that go down there and take trips like that, like van camping trips and stuff, and they love it. So
Yeah.
Right, and I think we would survive in the end. So
I think you'd
that's
make
what
it.
counts.
That's
Yeah.
the important part. That is awesome.
They got some cool ruins down there, so it'd be cool to take your van to like one of the ruins. They have
Absolutely.
Tulum and Chichen Itza.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome.
So yeah, for sure. Have you guys been to like Florida at all, or any place like that?
Not yet. So far, we've only gone west of where we've started
So you're
from.
mainly out west, yeah.
Very cool.
So did we ask them already where they were going next as far as jobs?
We said we asked them where they're going, but not what jobs you guys are looking into going.
Do you have
in
something on the
Utah.
horizon that you're going to go to next? Or like, yeah, in Utah?
Huh. Well, we have some buddies that work at Zion, so that's always an option.
Nice.
We could always do,
Death Valley.
yeah,
Got some friends out there as well.
in California, yeah. We could always do more petitioning too. Honestly, most of our jobs, at least like the Craigslist ones, you find out like a week or two before. So
Yeah.
if you're lucky, I mean, some of them you find out a few days before that you're going to do it. So a lot of it is just, start of the week. Okay, what work are we doing this week? And you kind of figure it out as you go, which is also nice because it kind of keeps it fresh with what jobs you're doing.
Yeah.
For sure.
Hard to plan ahead, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about like U.S. Census or anything like that? Because that's going to be coming up soon, isn't it? Don't they pay census workers okay?
Yeah, we've definitely thought about it. Most of what I've noticed is that they want you to kind of know the area and be from the area.
Oh.
Most of it's like, where are you from? And,
Well, you just got to tell them here.
That's true. Census work also, I mean, I know we've been in Arizona for a while, but census work is kind of more you dedicate yourself into a term. The nice thing about the canvassing job that we do right now is you agree to 1 week at a time.
Yeah.
So you confirm the next week. So then whenever we're ready to go, it's really, really easy to go.
Okay. So you guys don't have anything like super cool planned out for like over the summer or anything yet? Like state parks or national parks?
Next summer, we're going to work in Alaska, hopefully.
Nice.
Is the only thing we really have planned out. We want to kind of travel more. We've thought about maybe spending like the end of summer, or, like the start of fall, maybe in like Arkansas or Tennessee. There are some cool resorts and national parks that we've thought about working at there. So it's on the horizon, but everything is just so up in the air. You never know until closer to time.
For sure.
Are you guys on the Work Camper site?
Not yet.
Yeah, you guys should check that out for sure.
That's very true.
Mhm.
Is that was through Facebook, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a work camper group through Facebook, and they got people that post stuff in there all the time, and you'll see, jobs at like a campground where they're looking for people just to work at a campground for like 3 months or something like that. So you might be able to lock something down for the summer,
That's
a little more
awesome.
long term, save up that money, and then get up to Alaska,
Yeah, there is another Facebook group called Parkies, and that one, people who work in the National Park circuit will talk to each other about, I want this, and this. What park should I go to? So that's a cool way to we might use to kind of figure out where we want to go next if we can
Hmm.
decide kind of what we want.
Interesting.
Very nice.
Have you guys heard of gate guarding?
Yeah, a little
I
bit.
think so. A little. Is that? Yeah, I think you've mentioned it a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's mainly in Texas. So like
Yeah.
it would be like for like an oil field, like they have a gate and you would like park your camper at the gate. I guess it pays pretty well. And you
Right.
would camp out there. You basically camp at the gate. They provide you with like 24-hour a day generator, fresh water tank, and then a way to get your waste away, you know. And you would just like run the gate like 12 hours a day or something like that. And then you would do like, say, 3 months there. But I guess it pays very well. But
That does
Yeah.
sound awesome.
the downside to it is I think it's like, say, 2 hours from like the closest anything. So
Yeah.
like on your one day off or something that you get, you would have to drive all the way like 2 hours to like a Walmart to like restock all your stuff for the week. But you would be able to bankroll a ton of money and then, you know, go do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Well, and you know what? That's what a lot of national park jobs are like.
Yeah.
You're very far from a Walmart or civilization of any kind, really.
That probably is true. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'd be used to something like that.
In Yellowstone, we were about 2.5 hours away from a town.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
It's kind of a
Yellowstone's about the size of Delaware and Rhode Island combined.
There's not stuff available within the park? Like they don't have like general stores or anything like that?
We do have, so like with who we worked for, we had an EDR, so we could eat, 3 meals a day. They would provide that for us. And there
Okay.
was a general store, but it was so expensive and it was owned by the other concessionaire in the park, so we didn't get a discount.
Oh.
Mm.
So we all would just drive into town every few weeks and restock on the stuff that we wanted.
And it was mostly really small, like single-use stuff. It was mostly for people who were passing through the park.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, couldn't get groceries.
They also have like pipeline inspectors too, which might be another
Yeah.
thing for you guys. You can inspect like oil pipelines, and like I guess you just go along and you would walk down the pipeline and you would inspect it to make sure, I don't know, that it doesn't have rust spots or leaking or I don't know.
Yeah.
So, but it's the same type of thing. But if you like hiking and stuff like that, you know, it might be a good option for you.
It'd be
That could be
perfect.
pretty cool, yeah.
So, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I've heard of that might be good for you guys. There's a lot out there. If you start looking, there's a lot out there.
Oh,
For
yeah.
sure.
Oh, yeah.
What was the other girl talk about? Oh, she does like tech work. So she
Yeah.
does like, she's like a moderator for like a website or something like that. And so she does that kind of work, and you know that she gets to sit there and do it from wherever she's at, and she can do it from literally anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it would be super cool to become a digital nomad. Right now, we're just kind of too young to have the skills, so we're working our way there.
That might be something to work towards once you want to do the nomad around the world type thing. So
Absolutely.
when you want to start drifting
Absolutely.
internationally.
Yeah, that'd be a
Mhm.
good idea for sure. What like type of advice do you guys have for our listeners that are getting ready to do this or want to do this in some form or another?
Especially younger listeners.
Yeah, our younger listeners that are maybe interested, maybe their minds have been sparked, but they're not quite there yet. What advice would you give them?
Man, there's a lot to unwrap. I would say the biggest things are make sure you have savings, make sure that
Yeah.
you are ready to go. So, can I say how much the van cost?
Yeah, please.
Cool. So our van it's very nice. It is camper style. It can take hookups and everything. So our van costs $7,000.
Okay.
I walked in and I had that saved up because all through high school I knew I wanted to travel. I didn't know how. So I just stockpiled money. I worked like 3 jobs. I worked and I worked and I worked and I saved up all this money. Didn't know what I was going to do with it. And then I found it. So it was nice to not have to, say, oh, now I know that I want this, but oh, I need to save up another $3,000.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
we've had to replace a lot of stuff on it. We had to get the brakes redone. You never know what's going to happen if you're living in a vehicle, and that stuff can get expensive. So savings are really important. If you're going to move in with someone, it's definitely important to understand the dynamic there.
Especially in a tiny space.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
one of my friends described it as like an 18 by 5, just like tin can of emotion. You know, if you go to sleep upset, you're going to wake up and you're still going to be upset. You know, it's not as easy as, oh, whatever, I'm just going to go read in the other room.
Yeah.
You're going to look at this person all the time. So it's nice to know that you're able to overcome conflict and things of that nature, just so that it doesn't elevate and elevate and elevate.
You know, going back to the van a little bit, how much do you guys have in repairs? So you paid $7,000 for it, and that was before you did any repairs, right?
Yeah.
So how much do you have in repairs since then?
We didn't expect to need anything done. We took it in for a consultation, and they said that, oh, everything's good to go. So we took it on the road, and it started overheating. So we took it in, and that was $1,000. And then the brakes needed replaced, and what was it? What else did they do last time?
So they basically redid the whole brake system, and then also just a minor repair, the power steering.
The power steering, that's what it was. Yeah, we woke up one day and I wasn't strong enough to turn the wheel, so
Wow.
we had to get that taken care of. Yeah, so we got the brake line fixed, and they were like, hey, the power steering's kind of funky, let's fix it too. $2,000. Bam. So thus far we've spent $3,000 on it. And then, yeah, we went out, we camped in the middle of nowhere. It was one of our travel days. And then I woke up and I couldn't turn the wheel. So then we had to drive into Phoenix and find someone to repair the power steering again, which luckily was covered on our warranty from the last place. So we only had to spend like $50 in fees on that. But in like a 3-month period, we spent like $3,000 in repairs.
So you got roughly $10,000 in it so far then.
Yeah.
Roundabout.
Which is still pretty reasonable, you know, as far as this kind
Absolutely.
of thing goes, you know.
Absolutely.
What kind of mileage are you getting on it?
To be honest, it's not super good.
No.
We look at about 10 miles per gallon when you're in town. When you're traveling on the highway, you know, there's some days that are our traveling days that we drive for, 8-10 hours. And if you just take your time, you don't push it too hard, try to catch winds good, if you see a big semi drive.
Get a little tailwind.
Yeah. We can stretch it to like 15, 17, not too bad at all. We have a front and a rear tank. They're both 15 gallons.
That helps a lot.
And we can get pretty far. Pretty far.
Oh, it has a front and rear gas tank. I thought you were talking about like gray or black tank. Okay, gas tank.
No, yeah, we have a front. We have 2 gas tanks.
So you can do about 30 gallons on a tank. So so you can get a little further. Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah.
So what would you say, like, your fuel and, like, do you guys do oil changes a lot? Like, has that been a cost that you've incurred that you didn't realize was so high?
We do kind of all our own oil changes. We had a leak for a while, so we went through a bit more oil than we thought, but she's 31 years old, so we were expecting to, have some leaks and stuff, but
a little bit of vehicular know-how too.
Yeah.
Never a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our van is really hard to find things online for. I just figured it's now 2020. I can look anything up. But that is not true about a 1989 Econoline E250. It's not popular enough that a lot of stuff is online. So, have a vehicle manual. Talk to the person who sells it to you. If they've been camping in it, they might know how to do those maintenance things. Because I didn't even think to ask him. I was like, oh, whatever, I'll look it up when the time comes, and I cannot do that.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Makes a lot of sense, for sure.
One, it probably helps too, because a lot of people want to buy like a empty van, and then they want to convert it.
Right.
But if you guys had to put like build your own bed in there, and then build your own whatever, refrigerator, sink, storage space, that's a big cost too that I don't think anybody takes into account.
For sure. And yeah, because ours was $7,000 done, and some people were like, oh, well, you could have DIY'd it yourself for less. But I'm not totally confident in that. And it's also nice to live in a van that's already made
Yeah.
before you make your own conversion, because I think it would suck to spend $10,000 on a conversion and it's all handmade and you spend all this time on it and then you realize that your layout sucks is it's like totally
Yeah.
impractical.
Uh-huh.
Because we've learned things about our layout that if we were to DIY, because we'd like to maybe do a school bus one day, that if we were to DIY this and do it all over, things that we would do and things that we wouldn't do.
I've talked to other van camper and school bus conversion friends, and they all say that they don't like their initial layout. They always
Yeah.
always want to change it. So yeah, I always try to give that advice to people. Try to go out in there and explore and try something out for a period of time, and then you will learn from experience exactly what you're looking for and exactly what you
Right.
want.
For sure.
So I think you guys are doing it the right way. So build it out the next time around.
Exactly.
For sure. And then also, if you did want to try it out, we did just have an episode about renting campers online.
Oh yeah,
That'd be nice if you
outdoorsy.
Outdoorsy, you can rent them online if our listeners want to try that. That'd be a good idea.
I've always thought it would be cool to own one of those. I love the idea of just converting all these different buses and all these different themes and then renting them out.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever looked at teardrop campers?
Yes, I love them.
Because that'd be kind of a cool idea too, but you'd have to tow it with you everywhere, so it'd be hard. You'd lose the stealth aspect of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do love that we're in the same body as our driver's seat, because if
Yeah.
something weird is going
Yeah.
on, we just
Yeah.
grab the keys and watch it, and if it gets too close, we just turn the car on and we move. We don't have to get outside of the vehicle
Yep.
or anything.
For
It's really
sure.
easy to just dip if a situation gets weird.
Yep. Totally agree with you on that one for sure.
I've heard that one a few times. I think
Yeah.
that's a big thing.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, what else do we got? Should we do our wrap up?
Yeah.
Okay, so our wrap up is our final segments, and our first segment would be Don't Do That. And our Don't Do That segment is about a travel mistake that you might have made somewhere along the way that you can share with our listeners so they don't make the same mistake. And since there's two of you, you guys can have two if you want.
Oh, cool.
shoot.
Okay, so you can do yours. Take a little bit. I'm going to think of mine.
Okay. Well, the one that I thought of right off the bat was just keep in mind how small your black tank is going to be. If you have a place to use the restroom inside,
Go use it.
yeah, it's a lot. It gets filled up a lot faster than you think it's going to, I think.
Do you know how big your black tank is on yours?
I think it's 10
I could
gallons?
look right now. I think 10 gallons too, though.
I think 10
So
gallons.
I think since we're thinking the same thing, it's probably.
Okay.
But that's not as big as you think it is. And they are, I guess, something else to keep in mind, kind of on the same thing, is that cleaning it out. We have all the necessary tubes and the hookups, and that doesn't mean it's a pretty event.
No. And your first time is gonna suck. The
Yeah.
First time you empty out that tank, you're gonna go, "Oh my gosh, should we have done this?"
I always tell people that the first time you do it, it's going to suck. It gets better. You learn
does.
tips. You learn to use gloves.
Yeah.
You learn to pick the hose up a certain way so it doesn't splash on you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I always say give it a couple rounds. So I know it's going to be a little weird the first time, but give it a couple rounds. It doesn't grow on you, but it gets better, I guess.
Yeah.
It gets less gross.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Very sure.
And okay, mine is really simple and really obvious. But don't lock your keys in. It's remarkably. I would give you this advice for your home, or it's like the first thing you learn when you get a car. But when you lock the keys in the van that you live in, you just stand next to the van until the guy to fix it shows up. I locked my keys in. Devin was out of town, and so it was just me by myself for a few days. And on the second day, I jumped out of the van to go to work, and I rode a shuttle to work, and I closed the door, And as the door shut, I was like, oh my gosh, my keys and my work shoes are inside the
Oh.
And I worked on a train, so it was like kind of a big deal. You know, I'm wearing sandals and I'm about to go work on this train. Luckily, we have roadside assistance on our plan. So I think, you know, don't leave without roadside assistance. We've used ours 3 times now, twice to jump the battery and once to get the keys out of the car. Have we used it more than that? Have we got the keys out twice?
No.
Okay,
Just
cool.
That's good advice, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, and if there's 2 of you, make sure that you each have a pair that you normally carry. And then if you carry a backpack, we always have backpacks. Keep some spare keys in there. Obviously, that's not applicable if you have, you know, 2 keys. We have like 6 of each key. So we have like 6 door keys and 6 engine keys. So we just have keys everywhere. There's just keys all over the place.
So now you're covered, right?
Oh,
yes.
Well, I'm not sure if it's common with you guys, but it is kind of easy to leave your keys in the house.
Yeah.
You know, as you walk out the door and you think, oh, shoot, forgot my keys. But when your car is also your house, you can't just turn around and walk back in and grab them.
Yes.
So some good things to avoid that. Lock it after you get out. Although I know that I should do that and I never do because I'm like, oh, 5 extra seconds. But get keys that go on a lanyard. Get a lanyard.
Yeah.
And feel your neck. And if you don't have that lanyard on, don't shut the door.
Yeah.
That's a genius.
I always tell everybody that too because it works really well with your house. If you have a handle where you turn the lock on the handle and then you can walk out the door and it locks you out, get rid of that and get a handle that you can't lock like that. And then if you make sure that you lock your deadbolt, then you can't really lock yourself out as long as because you have to have that key, you know, to lock it up. So and it's kind of the same thing with a van too. If you lock it from the outside the van, then it's kind of the same thing. But
absolutely,
it's definitely easier, like you said, to pop the lock inside and close the door.
Right. I know I shouldn't, but I do every single time.
You're not the only, I'm sure. For sure.
Hey, one other thing I wanted to ask you about. What was your train character? What was the character? What did you play on there?
So it was winter time, and it was the Grand Canyon Railway's Polar Express. So I was a chef. I wore a chef coat and a hat, and I danced and served hot cocoa and cookies and sang and
that's cool.
You know, played with children on a train twice a night. So it was pretty awesome.
I like that.
That is cool. Very awesome.
Okay. Final thing that we have is today's hidden gem. And today's hidden gem is a place that you have been that is off the beaten path where our listeners, if they're in the same area, they could go and check it out.
So our hidden gem's kind of fun. It's the really, really free market. And
what is
they have them all. They have them all over. We went to the one in Phoenix, Arizona. Let me see. We have a list of some of the places. So some of the big places are like Athens, Georgia, Miami, Albuquerque. A lot of the big cities will have them. It's the really, really free market. So what you do is, it's so nice when you're in a van, you accumulate lots of stuff. You can take all of that stuff, go to the really, really free market and put it on a table. And boom, now someone else can take it for free. And if there's anything that you want or you need, you can pick it up at the really, really free market. And there's no bartering. There's no exchange of anything. You don't have to drop off an item. You don't have to pick up an item. You can do pretty much whatever you want. People offer haircuts. So it's just a really, really free market.
Interesting.
And it's really, really free?
It's really free?
And they really are all over. I mean, all the way from California to New York. They have a couple in Russia. They
do have them abroad
Singapore.
in some places.
I mean,
is there a website? Can you look it up on a website?
I'm honestly not sure. It's put on through Food Not Bombs, which is they do a lot of food rescue initiatives. I know if you go on Wikipedia, the Wikipedia for it has a list of all the cities that do it.
I'm wondering if Indianapolis does it because that's where we're at.
Ooh, check.
You know what
we have the list open.
Let's see. Yeah, Indianapolis sure does.
Nice.
Ooh.
Does it have an address, or how do you know where it is?
Most likely, you would look up the Food Not Bombs chapter near you, and then try to find it that way, maybe.
Nice.
Cool.
Because I'm always like taking like stuff to Goodwill. I would much rather take it to a place like that is not going to make money off my stuff and give it to somebody that needs it.
Awesome. Yeah,
It
we
is really
took
nice.
like this, like a pump up sleeping pad that we had there, and it was nice to see it go to someone that needed it, that could use it, and they
Nice.
didn't have to pay for it.
And it
I like
pumped
that.
up with your foot, so
Oh,
you didn't
yeah.
have to have like a pump or anything. You
Mhm.
just stepped on it, so it
It's a cool bag.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
And I think this would be good too for people who are looking to get into the van life that need to get rid of a lot of things. If they're moving
Yeah.
from their
Absolutely.
home into
Yeah,
the van
absolutely.
life. And
If you're, van life, you're living in a camper, living in a Class A or something like that, tiny home, you know, if you got to downsize, do that.
And then vice versa. If you're trying to go back, maybe you're exit planning.
That's true.
That's
You know,
right.
you're done with van life. You have to exit plan. You need to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Pick some stuff.
Pick some
back
stuff up, right?
Yeah, right. Refurnish your house.
Well, I always hate giving it to Goodwill too, because I'm pretty sure their CEO has his own private plane, so I'm
Right.
not too cool with that.
For sure.
Yeah, that sounds
Okay.
awesome.
I think that's everything, guys.
All right, you guys are doing great
Awesome.
things.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much for talking to us.
It was so awesome talking to you guys.
Yes.
So
Thank
we'll have
you.
you back on later. We'll have to check back in with you like later on in the summer and see how everything's going
Oh,
and
shoot.
tell us
Sounds
That'd be
good.
exciting.
Yeah,
tell
that'd
us
be
more
great.
about your adventures.
Yeah, and if there's
Awesome.
a place that you want our listeners to like reach you out, maybe your email or Facebook page, or
Oh yeah.
where would you like them
Oh,
to kind of
yeah.
get in
Yeah.
contact
So-
with you?
Sorry about
We're-
that.
No worries. We're about to launch our website. We don't have a launch date exactly. It's called wechosetravel.com. And then on there, we'll figure out social media handles and everything. But yeah, wechosetravel.com.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You guys already have that domain?
Yeah, we secured the domain.
Perfect.
Technically, the website is published.
It's
it
not
just,
launched. It's not public yet. You can't look it up.
it doesn't look pretty, so we're not good.
Well, we are excited to see it when it is ready, and we'll.
Yeah, it'll look pretty by the time we air, I'm hoping. It'll at least be presentable.
Very
Very
nice.
nice. Yeah, we'll definitely post a link to that on our show too, so everybody can check it out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
We'd
Thanks.
love to see your story.
Yeah. Thanks so much,
Oh.
guys. Well, go ahead.
Thank you so much. I was gonna ask if we have photos to send you.
Yes.
Would you like us to send you some?
Oh.
Do you have any suggestions?
Anything travel. So send us pictures of the van, anything of you guys out doing, backpacking,
Mhm.
We
working,
got lots of
Jobs.
those.
pictures of you in your little chef coat from the
Yeah.
from the train. We'd love to
Oh,
see
yeah.
that. Anything that we talked about on the show is great because then people can get like a vision for what we've talked about, and
Yeah.
Awesome.
it makes that connection,
That's true.
I think we might even have a picture of the first time we dumped out the black tank.
Yes. Yeah, see, that's
That would be
perfect.
perfect. Yeah.
Yes, please
Yeah,
share all
for
that with
sure.
us. So
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'll get that sent probably in the next few days, just whenever we're at the library again.
perfect. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
We'll chat later.
Awesome.
All right. Bye.
Good one.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, that was Kim and Devin, and they're a cute couple. If you guys want to learn more about them, go check out their website. They'll be out very soon. And if you could, please leave us a review on iTunes. Anywhere else that you listen to your podcast at, please leave us a review. Send us your emails. Tell us your comments. Tell us what you think about everything. We love to hear from everybody, and that's where we get our best information and best ideas for shows when people share with us what they like and what they want to hear, or share with us people that they think might be good guests on the show. So reach out to us at nomadictravelerpodcast@gmail.com, and we will see you next week.